So last time I was able to upload a video was before Halloween when I was making these giant Halloween decorations for a party we had at the house. As you can see, there's still aftermath, sort of half packed up from that party. And that's because that night I got so sick, like the worst cold ever. It went away, and then I went out. And then I got the cold back, like twice as hard. And then it kind of went away like 4 or 5 more days later. And then it came back after I went out one more time. Now that doesn't sound like a big deal, but for somebody like me that lives absolutely hand-to-mouth, paycheck to paycheck type of thing, being down for more than a week, oh, that makes a huge difference to somebody like me. So now I'm behind in everything. I'm behind in wood carvings. I'm behind in filming videos. I'm behind in everything because I couldn't breathe half of the time. I think I'm okay now. I have like some kind of toxic positivity where whenever I'm sick, I think I'll be fine. Well, Halloween is over, and you know what that means? It means Merry Christmas already, everybody. It's a sometimes vlog. It's a vlog that happens sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't happen close enough together. Look at this mess. Look at this disaster. Last time I saw you was when I was having a Halloween party back here. Everyone was having a fun time. I caught a horrible cold that night, which has gone away and come back 3 times. Every time I thought it was over, I'd go out, and then I'd just spend one day doing normal things, and I'd come back, and the next day be horribly sick again 3 times in a row. And no, it wasn't the big sickness. They have tests for that. Just some random weird cold. And then I remind myself, whenever I'm mystified, like, why me? Like, oh yeah, I've got an autoimmune disease and some other disorders as well. Got chronic health issues. That's a fun one. Sometimes they don't affect me for so long that I honestly forget, like in my head. And then when I get sick over and over, I'm like, what is going on? Oh yeah, duh, I'm defective. Anyway, that has put me behind with everything, with filming videos, with riding my bikes, with making tiki masks and doing all the wood carving projects that I've been supposed to do. I've even been working on a secret project in a recording studio and had to cancel sessions for that. So it's been absolutely no fun. And the biggest thing is I almost have like a toxic positivity when it comes to being sick. Like I always think, oh yeah, I'll be fine in a day or 2. I never rest properly. So I've tried my best to actually give myself a rest. But except for cases of hospitalizations and surgery, it's never been this long. Like it was never that long of a streak with no video. Weird, and I hated it, which is why I'm inviting you along for a little sometimes vlog action now, even though absolutely nothing is going to happen. We're just hanging out right now as I'm looking up here at some wood. I need to select some of this wood for a project. There's a big carving idea that I wanted to do for a friend. Last year I did a miniature version, and I thought over the summer I was going to be doing a huge version, and I never got to it. Now it's already fall and going to be winter. I got to get started on that project. Got to get started on some more tiki masks and things. But to turn one of these slabs of old ancient oceanic arts wood into, the blank for carving out what I'm planning on doing, I got to get one of these things over to my dad's house so he can, or AKA the lumber mill, so he can cut it up and we can glue it together, and then it's ready for the carving. But I just realized none of that is going to matter if I can't get the van started, since the van is the only vehicle big enough to hold the wood. So let's find out. Generally speaking, the van alone does not always like me. Oh, by the way, I also had a back injury too, so that's super fun. So I'm trying to move heavy wood and stuff. I better be careful, actually, before I'm down for longer. Oh. It started! It's working! The main issue with this thing is it needs to be rewired. Like the front of it has electrical problems, but no shop will touch it because it is an old conversion van, right? It has all the conversion van stuff in it. So it's just been piled high, like as a storage with just stuff ever since doing Exoticon and some tiki marketplaces. It's just basically been like a storage shed here in the driveway, and it is just, yeah. Basically, as you can see, my whole life is kind of a mess right now, but that's okay. The silver lining, and we don't do sex, politics, or religion on this show, but the silver lining is I didn't have to deal with any of everybody else doing that in the country and worrying about the election because I was sick as a dog. Randomland, and by extension the Sometimes Vlog, are sort of the break room from the fight, you know. I'm glad you guys are out there fighting each other. You come in here when you need a rest, then you can go back to fighting elsewhere on the internet. All right, well, it's on, and it seems like it's gonna stay on. I just gotta wipe some of the dust off the windshield since the windshield wipers don't work. I hit the road. First, apparently, I need to reinflate the tires. Load in the wood via the Teenager. This is called return on investment right here, people. Look at that. Look at that. And then we hit the road. The open road. I better clean this windshield off, though, at the gas station. There's also no gas in here. I told you, everything's a mess. Don't worry about that chicken. She'll hold together. Hear me, baby? Hold together. Dude, basically, the engine is sketchy. The whole dashboard is pretty sketchy. So all your gauges are sketchy. Sometimes the air conditioner doesn't work. Sometimes it does. But I can never get rid of this van. I mean, as long as it's still running. I think even the registration might be a little sketchy right now. It's registered, but it needs a smog. And like, I can't get rid of this van though, because one, I mean, it's paid for. We got it already, you know. And two, I need something to move around wood. And three, every time I drive this thing, it's all bouncy and crazy. All I hear in my head is the song from the Indiana Jones ride at Disneyland. You know. I mean, so much has to be replaced on this thing that literally driving around, that's what it feels like riding in this thing. It feels like you're in one of those Jeeps from the Temple of the Forbidden Eye. It's so fun, dude, I'm not gonna lie. It's sketchy, but it's fun. Also, like 90% of the time when I take this van somewhere, I get to leave it unlocked because it's the kind of van you just assume somebody is living inside of. It looks so sketchy that even sketchy people keep their distance. I'm sure my mom is very proud whenever it's parked in front of her house. I brought the wood to the sawmill where Seth will be turning it into the slab that I need to do the thing that I need to do, which is a top secret project. You'll find out about it later. Don't look at the camera. Nobody look. And then back in the car again. She started again. Thank the maker. Oh, I don't know why I chose this way. We're on a big hill right now. Oh, I was getting worried, and then I remembered, you know what? She made it over the Rocky Mountains a couple of times. It'll probably be fine. But look at this. This is the real bummer. It's only 4:30, and the sun is about to stinking go down. I hate this. Dude, when I was younger, I never believed in the whole seasonal effect of it. Even though I struggled with depression and everything, I was always like, that's so stupid. But the older I get, the more I think it might be real, guys. Something about the short days. I feel exhausted before they even start, you know. So that might just be because I've been sick for 2 weeks or whatever. So take that all with a grain of salt. Tomorrow I might be like, I love these short days. I'm always a flip-flopper. That's just how I am. I came this way and tried to get this beautiful view of the ocean. Or, well, the city and smogginess between here and the ocean, because there's someplace else I wanted to visit, since I haven't been out and about for a while. That's why I'm trying to see what's shaking at the antique station. Dude, look at this. Look at all the people in the orange circle. It is crazy how much things have changed here just like in the past 10 years or so. It's like so much more of a hipster spot now. It's basically Chapman University's food court, so there's always people here all hours of the day and night. One of those changes that's good for the economy and bad for the heart. Wow, there's so many people down here. Well, it gives me hope that the antique station will at least be open. I haven't been down here for so long. I don't know what the weird Sunday hours are or whatever. All right, I don't actually need to get anything from here or drop anything off to my booth, but I figure since I'm in the area, I might as well take a look. And there's a secret project I'm working on. I need to check something. So I'm in incognito mode. It never works, but I always try. Ah, the old van. Look at it. Look at it. Unlocked. Ready for someone to steal it. Actually, the other day, London was like, what if someone steals it? I'm like, dude, that'd be my lucky day. Not literally, but you know, almost. We can have a little hyperbole. This is America, darn it. Oh, I'm honestly getting exhausted already. That's how sick I've been up and down for the last couple of weeks. I don't know if you could hear it in my voice and everything, but it's just been no good. And all I've done is just drive some wood over and drive the van a little bit. I'm already just like, exhausted. All right, here we go. Oh my gosh, there's so many people, including people in my booth. Dude, note to self, Sunday is the business down here at the antique station. He knows what I'm talking about. Okay, we've added a bunch of stuff in here. There's a bunch more stuff to add that I have not had the chance to add, but there are booklets of Star Trek trading cards. We got all kinds of Star Wars stuff for some reason. Tons of vintage Star Wars. Look at that. Jedi Luke, Darth Vader. We got, man, so many. This is like my dream when I was a kid. Now they're all here in this beautiful case. I want to take them home. These ones aren't even part of my personal collection. They're all ones I bought to resell in here. But I want to take them home. Oh, dude, and speaking of Star Wars, look at that. Old school original Star Wars Expanded Universe. So the good Star Wars, back in the good Star Wars days, remember? We thought they were the dark times. They might have been the light time. Still some Halloween stuff left in here. All right, I'm just doing my inspection. I haven't been in here in a while. My mom's starting to get into Christmas stuff. Rocking in here, rocking in the free world. Oh, dude, she finds sometimes she finds some rad stuff. Sometimes it's my stuff that I found that I don't even remember that I found. Right now I have no memory of any of this. You know what this is right here? This is a little secret item. That is Mr. Dapper's hat. Mr. Dapper's original hat in the booth right now. These are all smalls. If you are a small, come get yourself a Randomland t-shirt, because these are all designs, many of which we don't make anymore. All these cool leftover smalls in here. Dude, there's some epic poster prints in here, new ones, and the rarest thing of all, old posters from my band, old scarred posters. They look so teeny in the roll. These are good sized poster right there. It's a Live Fast Die Poor poster. That's cool. Well, anyway, all that exists. It's still here. If you want to come on down to the antique station in Orange, we've got our booth here. My dad just built all these new shelves, so that's one of the things I wanted to check. I wanted to check out all the new shelves that he built. Anyway, this is still here. Come on down, check it out. But in the meantime, I'm just going to poke around a little while I'm in here. What the duck? I said duck, what? Dude, look at this decanter. If you like to gobble up liquor and you love America, this is the beverage container for you. Oh my gosh, Benjamin Franklin would love this. Before we decided on the bald eagle for the national bird, he's the one that wanted America's symbol to be the turkey. I'm not sure he was wrong. Dude, check this out. Look at this fish right here. I've got one of these at home right inside my doorway, which Bob Gurr gave me. It was something he had in his house like forever, and he gave me this crazy swordfish, which I keep by the door so I can use it as a weapon if I need to. Because look at the snout on that guy right there. Who knew there was more than one of those? Oh my gosh. I remember this toy. I remember this being around. I don't know. I feel like some littler kids than my brother and I, had this space station in the 90s. Does anybody know what went to this? Were they little people? Were they like 90s versions of little people? What went to this? It's like these guys right here. They weren't quite little people. They weren't quite Legos. That is so cool, man. Blast from the past. I love antique stores, dude. This is the best place to find weird, funny, random Christmas presents, which is basically the only kind I like to give. I mean, most people can get themselves what they want for Christmas nowadays. By the way, look at all that vintage stuff. That is so freaking awesome. Oh my gosh, Santa's motorcycle and sidecar. Like, honestly, since the invention of the gift card, really, are you going to buy someone their very favorite thing unless they tell you what it is, and then they told you, and then they kind of know what you're giving them? Christmas is sort of ruined in a way compared to how it was when we were kids, you know, and you get some unexpected, so excited. How did you know this is just what I wanted? Or you give me something I've never even heard of, but it's so amazing. I guess you could still do that with kids today. You can still get a kid an exciting present, but anybody teenager and up, they've got a phone, they've got eBay, they've got Amazon. You get somebody an Amazon gift card or an eBay gift card, it's like you're pretty much done and dusted. So what remains, though? What remains is coming and finding somebody a weird searchlight or like a funny lamp, or coming and looking for something they actually can't get on Amazon or anywhere else. Something handmade, something a little different, something from a small seller, perhaps. How do you know they're going to like it? That's why I like the gag gift, right? Because I don't know, I have a hard time with presents. I'm not good at getting them at all. Okay, that's a secret. We'll leave that for... Don't look at it. Dude, I thought this was like some kind of heat lamp. It's a freaking spotlight. Actually, when I first looked at it, I thought it was a spotlight. Then I thought, no, that little grill on it, maybe it's a heat lamp or something. No, that's a little spotlight, dude. Imagine giving that to somebody. Give that to your Batman fan friend right there. You can make a bat signal. Sweet. Or get your friend this little Bambi. Ugh. Concrete Bambi. Or this, the spirit of America. Look at that. A Native American. You've got the bison there. You've got the eagle. The land as it was. Actually, this year I bought this box of I can't tell you what, but it was full of all the same thing, and that is everybody's Christmas present. So everybody's getting something from this specific box I have. I'll show you guys when the time is right. This is what I'm talking about. This is why this is the best place ever to get a Christmas present. Because, I mean, look at this giant art piece from the 90s. That looks like something straight out of Pee-wee's Playhouse. Or you can get this giant T-Rex Jurassic Park style skeleton thing. Or you can get a giant hand-carved wooden carousel chimp monkey thing. Or this man who is proudly showing off his butt for the butt fan in your family. Or a cute little squirrel. Ooh, a rabid little squirrel. Oh no, I killed Peanut. Oh, thank God he's okay. False alarm. I thought it was all happening again. Oh my gosh, I need that Mark Twain Stein in there. Look at that. Look at that, the glorious riverboat. The pipe. Mark Twain preferred cigars, but you know, he liked a rank old pipe. Check that old man cup out. Oh my gosh, Thanksgiving die cuts? I didn't even know they made these. Anyway, we're going to do some more antique vlogging very, very soon. A little look around the orange circle. Maybe not on a Sunday because it is hecka busy down here. If you like that, some people really do like that. And people tell me all the time, why do you want to go to so and such a place on the day when it's dead? Don't you want the excitement? The fun is being out with all the people. Everybody's shopping. Everyone's looking in the window like the old days, Christmas shopping, window shopping at the mall. No, I don't like that. I hate that. I like the world to be empty. I see the weekends are my nightmare. Like this clown is some other people's nightmare. My motto is, thank God it's Monday sometimes, you know? But yes, I want to come do some more digging around very, very soon. I love when you get like old hand painted signs. I love old food containers. It's so bizarre, you know, like that's where your peanut butter came from, a friggin' tin bucket. No microplastics in the kids that ate Shed's peanut butter. Just rust. There's a lot of really confusing items in here. This says body with baby glass. Okay. Honestly, I would have picked that up for fake Tyler, even though I already have a Christmas present for him, like I was kind of mentioning. Except I don't know what he would do with that, and I don't want to know. Oh my gosh, dude, there's another Mark Twain mug? Stein? What do we call this? Is it a mug? Let's see. Let's look very carefully. Oh my gosh, so carefully. Okay, it's more of a mug. Now look I like ceramics. Allie's doing ceramics now. Nothing for sale yet. She's not like on that level yet. She's still learning, but ceramics are awesome. I'm not sure if I can start collecting Mark Twain ceramics if there's going to be this many of them. I've seen 2 in the last 15 minutes. I have a very strong compulsion to buy that, but it said $79. I don't have $79. $79 would change my whole life right now. Okay, see, I've gotten sucked in a way I really didn't want to, and I'm losing energy quick. I'm getting tired, and let's not forget I have to drive the van home, which is illegally tinted by the previous owner. Very difficult to see out of at night. I should probably get out of here soon. I just keep seeing such rad stuff. Anyway, that's what I like. I like the old stuff, the vintage stuff, the real deal stuff, and I really love handmade stuff and art. And that's the great thing about this place. You never know what you're gonna find. Like freaking Jar Jar Binks right here. What the heck is this? Mr. and Mrs. Andrews, August 18th, 2012. You can own Mr. and Mrs. Andrews' wedding screen-used wedding dress for $50. Dang. Wow. Well, not my size. Oh my gosh, sick vintage belt buckles. You can make somebody your buckle bunny. Hawaii Dukes. Put that on your belt. That'll show them. Or how about the ultimate? The buck buckle. Put this on your crotch, you scare away all them bullies. I guess it's not really your... I shouldn't have used that word. Groin? Your groin? What is this? Your waist? I don't know. Yeah, waist. Sorry, guys. I've been out of it. I've been at home as a prisoner like this bear over here. Anyway, it's time to get out of here. I have some more thoughts I wanted to share with you, but I've accomplished my mission of something I was down here to check out and look at. Since I don't currently have anything to put in the booth, and by the way, people send me stuff all the time. Hey, sell this in the booth. Knock yourselves out. If you want to send me stuff to sell in the booth, go ahead. Or if you have collections of stuff that you'd be willing to sell for a reasonable price so they could be resold, hit me up. Basically, my mom has more or less taken over the booth now, so it helps me liquidate stuff. It gives her a job, basically, and although it really doesn't make much money for me, at least not right now, I just like to be part of it. I just always wanted to be part. I love antique stores. I love these specific antique stores. My whole life I've been coming in these. I love them so much, you know? Just wanted to be part of the crew, part of the team, part of the select few with real estate in a booth. Look at that crazy tricycle. That's insane. All right, since I don't need a crazy tricycle and I don't need any magic potions to put spells on people, and I honestly don't need to bring home any more Star Wars toys when I have so many for sale. I'm feeling progressively worse right now. I think my miniature day has ended, but look at this. 80s dinosaurs. I have some 80s dinosaurs at home, including one of these, and you don't see these very often. There used to be a whole aisle of dinosaurs at every store, dude. Every store had these 80s generic plastic dinosaurs, probably all the way from like the 50s, 60s, 70s into the 80s. Different materials each decade, but more or less the same idea. All until Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park killed the generic 80s dinosaur toy. We'll talk about that in the future. Oh my gosh, I want all of these. All right, that's it. We're coming antique shopping in a couple days. Don't worry, we'll be back. We'll be back. This wasn't meant to turn into an antique store video, but there's just so much rad stuff in here right now. Okay. Let's go. Keep moving. I'm going to warn you guys in advance. It's a very dangerous place to visit. the antique station, because it is hard to leave without taking some of these treasures home with you. Luckily, I did not succumb today. Actually, one of the things I was going to say while I was in there, hey, look, a dog tied to a pole. It's like the 1930s all over again. Hi, puppy. What a good puppy. Oh, it's like something out of Annie. I don't know when the last time I saw a dog like tied up on the sidewalk was. See, it's like the old times here in good old Town Orange. Yes. It's crazy, like just how popular all these restaurants are and how many people are out on the town now eating and drinking and carrying on and so forth, buying vintage clothing there. And I know I say that like every year, but every year it just goes up a notch. We're gonna come back. I'm gonna come into the Orange Circle Antique Mall, which is technically our rival store, I guess, now that I have a space in the other guy, but this is one of my favorite spots ever. Moonshine Vintage. These guys in the front window, they knock it out of the park. I used to be down here all the time because I used to live down here. Now I don't live as close. I'm back over towards Disneyland. I'm just happy to see that I've recovered enough to at least come outside for a little while before they've gone full Christmas lights, because you know that's going to be like 2 seconds. Anyway, speaking of wood projects and different things, I haven't done any kind of hand-painted signs in a while, so I was looking at the booth like, maybe I should chuck some in the booth. Oh, almost missed my turn. That's part of what I was going in there to look around, just kind of scope out the scene, see how much space there is in the booth. Like I said, my mom mostly runs it now. Since I've been sick, I haven't been like face-to-face with her all that much, and I haven't seen the booth in a while, so I didn't really know what that meant. Like if there's lots of space, we need to like, is there room for big items? You know, all that kind of thing. So I had to come down and scope it out. This has been just like, a disaster in terms of just being sick lately. I don't know if any of you have ever gone down for like a couple weeks, and it's just the worst. And of course, with everything else that's been going on, everybody's at their throats. I'm sure you can go into probably your Facebook feed and see your uncles and your aunts fighting with your neighbor and your friend from the punk rock band fighting with your other friend from the church down the road. You know what I mean? It's one of those crazy times. Meanwhile, I was sick, just laying there like, ugh. One thing I try to keep in perspective, whether I'm stressed out by results or stressed out by the reaction to people's, you know, online or any big events or crazy things. You know, one thing that I've learned sort of the hard way over the years, right? When I was younger, I used to get so mad, and I used to be sort of a victim of circumstance. Everything upset me. Everything would go straight to like sort of my heart. A little bit like my mom, who's like a total empath, you know. I kind of inherited a little bit of that, and I would get pretty angry, pretty frustrated, usually mostly with myself. I've always been more of a self-blamer than pointing the finger at other people around me, which can be a good trait and a bad trait, right? Because you're beating yourself up. But all stressful situations come along, 9/11, a pandemic. I've lived through all these things. I've also had like, you know, these chronic illnesses of celiac disease and some other things that are chronic and going on. I got this heart condition now since 2020. Sometimes multiple of these things work together to keep me miserable. It's like I got chronic back problems, all kinds of stuff. I mean, you know, Allie, the wife of my life, I mean, she has Crohn's disease. She almost died multiple times in the last 8 years that we've lived together. And one of the things I've learned from dealing with hard situations, right? Like going through divorce, or whether it's going through the pandemic, or whether it's going through the love of your life, being sick unto death nearly, is that we are all actually going to die, which sounds like bad news. I know it sounds like a downer thing to say, we're all going to die, but this is actually, I'm not joking, something that I tell myself all the time to cheer myself up. You know what? We're all going to die. Memento mori. It used to be a phrase in the old days. You know, the Latin monks would say that. The Greeks had a much longer phrase they would put on the skulls. If you've ever seen old black and white pictures of skulls with Greek writing on the foreheads, it usually says something along the lines of, as you are, so I once was, as I am now, so you will be. Basically a longer version of memento mori type of thing. Remember death. Nowadays, death is so far away from us. Like, we don't see death, you know. We're not like walking by the Undertaker's window and see, oh, there's old grandpa laying on a slab. You don't put people in your house on ice and mourn them for weeks anymore and that kind of thing. It's very hidden away. We don't think about it that often. We don't even see it when our pets die. You know, oh, so-and-so, Fluffy went across the Rainbow Bridge. We don't really deal with it or cope with it much. And maybe that's a good thing in some ways. We almost feel like we've escaped it. But remember, we're all headed towards the same conclusion. I recently had a friend, Bob from Oceanic Arts, pass away, and I was at his funeral. It was very hard for me, and I'm watching him lower them into the ground and the whole thing, and it's just very, it's a good reminder in some ways, though. As sad as it was, a horrible day, very sad. It's a good reminder that no matter what the situation is, no matter what the current event is or what's on the news, eventually we're all going to go. Now, for some people that means, yeah, you know, that's motivation to keep fighting, make the world a better place while you're still here. But it's also good motivation to let things go sometimes. It's just like, this is not worth getting upset about. I thought a lot about my friend Bob, and I thought a lot about, you know, he was up there in years. And I was thinking about my Aunt Kate, who passed away, about, I don't know, 10 years ago or so. And I was thinking, my great Aunt Kate, and I was thinking about she lived into her 90s. She had this long life, you know. She was so at peace with it. I prayed all the prayers I can pray, and I've lived all the life I can live, and I'm ready to go home and see my family again, right? She was so at peace with it. It was a wonderful, nice thing, you know, as much as it could be for being such a sad and tragic thing. But it occurred to me back then, and every time someone else passes away, I try to remember this and burn it into my brain that, like, I've been with several old people as they've been laying there in their final days, and I've had conversations with many of them, and you know, I've been in hospice with lots of my relatives and things like that, and I've never once heard one of them say, you know, I wish I'd gotten more angry about this cause or that cause, or I wish I'd burned down the whole city. I never hear that. I hear a lot more like, I wish I'd spent more time telling the people close to me that I love them. I wish I spent more time with my kids. I wish I spent, you know, I wish I'd had more kids. I wish I'd had started that business or whatever. It's those kind of regrets that I hear. Not, oh, I wish I'd have protested more in the 60s, or I wish I'd have, you know, things like that. And it's making me think a lot about, you know, how old I am and life and death and all that. I know this is deep thoughts for after the antique store when we were looking at a guy's butt sticking up in the air on a little statue. Maybe this is all just in my head because everyone around seems to be upset, and I've been laying there sick with nothing else to do but just like stare at the ceiling. I've been like Cameron from Ferris Bueller, you know, like I'm dying, you know. But yeah, I started thinking about like what actually really matters. And you can't control your circumstances. You can only control your reaction to them and all that kind of stuff. And I think about the quest for positivity, and I think about like, what am I here for? What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? You know. And I've been thinking about the big questions. And I don't think that when I finally get to when I'm going to die, whether that's freaking tonight or whether that's, you know, 50 years from now, I don't think I'm going to be worried about the stuff I was angry about anymore. And Bob Gurr and I talk about this all the time. Bob Gurr's a very happy-go-lucky. Nothing phases him. He's able to just walk into any situation and kind of own the room. But more than that, he's never really angry, and he's, you know, 93 years old, and we have constant talks about philosophy and secrets of the universe and all kinds of the history and things. And I often talk to him, especially in the early days of like trying to let go of anger, about divorce. Bob had famously been divorced way back in his life and all this different stuff. I would often have conversations with him because I was starting my quest for positivity, and I was on the quest for positivity, and I'd had the practicing gratefulness part of it like kind of set into my mind. Okay, that's one step on my journey, and then another one is try to see the silver linings in things, even things that annoy me and enrage me. Try to see the good in a situation or the hopeful side of everything. Right, not in a toxic positivity kind of way, because that's the third thing, was to acknowledge things suck. And then the big thing was, that really changed my life, was trying to, like I say, trying to look at things like, look, I can't control the circumstance, I can only control my reaction to them. Or I've heard it put another way. More recently, I've heard people say, like, life is 10% what happens to you and 90% what you do about it. It's that kind of thing. But Bob taught me something years ago, which I just heard him mentioning last night at an event down here he did with Charles Phoenix, and it reminded me of some of the long conversations we've had on his back porch about, you know, anger is such a waste of energy, and like the wisdom, the main thing you'll talk to this guy, 93 years old, a literal genius, invented half the stuff you ride on at Disneyland, came up with all kinds of engineering solutions that the professionals with all the learned degrees couldn't come up with, right? Bob Gurr, genius, Walt's most genius Imagineer, 93 years young. I mean, he's got a lot of knowledge stored there. Sharp as a tack, remembers everything. His brain is like a filing cabinet of information. And he had a crazy personal life struggles too as well, which aren't really my place to reveal here. But the main thing we'll talk about when we talk about like things we've learned, the things we've overcome, and his main sort of advice or thing would be that just like anger is such a waste of energy. You've got to get rid of anger and learn not to be angry. And I've gotten to this place where I don't really get angry anymore. I get angry at myself. I get angry at myself like crazy. I mostly don't get angry anymore. I try to think, what can I do with that energy instead of being angry? He's talking about like shedding the anger and then being able to start over with a new plan. Unforeseen circumstances happen to you, you start over with a new plan, right? So like right now, sick for like 10 days, probably the longest streak I've ever gone without uploading a video or doing anything like that. And I'm very much, some of you may be surprised, but I'm not a rich guy. You've seen my van. It's not one of those Mercedes camper vans, is it? I'm not a rich guy. I live paycheck to paycheck like anybody else. And if there's 10 days go by without me uploading a video, I'm pretty much, I get, you know, that's not good. That'd be like you not being able to go to work for 10 days. And there's no sick pay for me, right? So not a great situation to be in. So I have a tendency to start getting really angry at myself, beating myself up, getting upset, getting stressed out. And luckily, one of the first things I was able to do when I was up out of bed and out of the house, I was able to go to this thing last night with Bob and Charles, and just hearing someone ask Bob, like, what's the secret to happiness? And he starts in on, like, you've got to get rid of anger. It's like one of the main secrets to happiness is learning that anger is a waste of your energy. So it's not that the thing that's happening isn't wrong or somebody out there isn't making you angry or whatever. It's that whole thing of life is 10% what happens and 90% what you do about it in your own life, right? Like, all right, I can't change, say during the pandemic, I couldn't change anything about a virus rampaging across the world. I can only change what I do at home in my life about that thing, right? And so in this situation right now, I couldn't change the fact that I was sick. Couldn't change the fact that I was pretty much useless there, a lump for 10 days. Can't change the fact that I'm still kind of struggling with all kinds of different health problems that we're not going to get into because they're weird. But I always think of the remember death thing. I think I've only got this much time. Do I really want to spend it on anger? Do I really want to spend it on frustration? Even on things that I legitimately should be frustrated or angry or stressed out or scared of. It's like, that's not going to help me get anywhere. I got to stop. Let those emotions go. They're a waste of they're literally burning calories I can't afford to waste. Well, maybe I can afford to waste a few of them though. And I've got to figure out, what is it that I'm capable of doing right now about my situation? What is it I want to do? So I got some lists. I got some things, and I've been trying to sit there and go, okay, instead of getting angry that I can't go out and film the things that I want to film and do the things I had planned on doing, why don't I sit here and look on the bright side and go, okay, what am I going to do when I'm done with this, right? What am I going to do when I do have my energy back? And that's part of today. I'm coming down here. I'm going to see, what are some things I can make and put in the booth and different stuff. So I want to maybe do some hand-painted signs again or some carvings, right? Get the wood down to my dad's, get it ready so I can put this thing together that I'm supposed to carve. I've been making lists and plans for a little bit of history action when it comes to Disneyland. So we've got some history of Disneyland things coming up. I've been sketching out some ideas for different podcast things to do with Tyler and George, because they've sort of joined. It was nobody's plan, but they're just sort of like always around for different podcasts that we do for Patreon. They're all on the Patreon thing. And the morning announcements, which is another Patreon thing. So I'm like planning out, okay. And so like the last the first first couple of weeks of getting sick and then better and then sick and then better and sick and better, I was going insane. Like cabin fever, and you know me, I like to move around a lot. I like to travel a lot and move around and not being cooped up in the house, which is why I'm pacing around in a parking lot right now instead of sitting in a nice warm van or driving home to my wonderful bed or couch. I feel so good to be outside. So for like the first week and a half of this, it was like I was going stir crazy. I was going insane. I was getting really angry and frustrated and like tons of anxiety. And the last couple of days I started to go, no, remember the plan, the quest for positivity, all the lessons from Bob, all the lessons you've learned, remember all the lessons. And I've been trying to okay, what am I going to do next? Another thing is I was supposed to be traveling right now. So thank goodness it didn't happen. It actually got pushed back by a week and a half. So Allie and I will be taking a flight very soon to an exciting, fun destination. We'll be sometimes vlogging there. More fun than this video. And it got pushed back. I've been trying to be like, okay, what am I going to do next? Another thing, I should have been with my friend Adam right now. So Adam just beat me getting to his 50th state. I've also been to 49 states, and I was also missing the same state as him, Alaska. So he's flying up to Alaska, and he offers me, like, dude, you want to go? Let's go. And I couldn't go because I had plans to be somewhere else. And actually, Allie and I are getting on a plane in about a week, and we are headed out of here to a very fun, great destination. But I should have been there now, but it got pushed back a little bit. And at first I was so frustrated, and I was sick, right? I'm sick, I'm like, oh man, I'm so jealous. I have my buddy, he went, and I could have gone with him, but I couldn't because I had a thing, but then the thing, and oh man, and now I'm sick. And then I realized, well, thank goodness both of those things, because I couldn't have gone there if I was sick, and I couldn't have gone to the other thing if I was sick. So once again, Instead of worrying about things I can't control, be like, oh man, I'm so jealous he beat me. He earned it though. 50th state, man, I'm that close. Although maybe I'll save my Alaska for the summertime, because if there's one thing I fear more than everybody's mother-in-law, it's winter. I was grown here in the orange groves, right? I was grown here like an orange, and I fear the frost. I fear the frost, friends. I fear the frost. Anyway, I've had tons of reasons to be frustrated and gripe, and I tried not to even post anything really for the last couple of weeks. I posted one picture of like my face on Instagram, and I was like, ugh, I got this head cold. You know, wake me up when this head cold ends. Haha, LOL. Like one of the first comments was some trolley guy being like, oh, sick of hearing about this guy being sick. And I was thinking, not as sick as I am of being sick, man. I got chronic illnesses and things like that. Super unfun. Which then just reminded me of all that stuff, and I was getting grumpy about it. I was getting all cranky, and then I realized, like, no, I'm gonna die one day. I'm lucky that I have these extra days. I could have been dead already many times. And gotta be grateful. Gotta be grateful for every day and look forward to what's coming next. So this has nothing to do with everything else going on, by the way, so don't try to read the tea leaves like that. I don't do passive aggressive, and I don't do, like I said, sex, politics, religion on this show or any other show that I produce. This is genuinely a lot of what I've been thinking about, and I had no idea what I was going to come and share with you guys today or do with you. I dropped off some wood, we checked out some antiques, and then I gave you a long parking lot talk right here next to the dumpsters where we had a meetup a couple of years ago. Wasn't that a fun one? If you guys were here, it was like the hottest day of the summer. We had a meetup right here, and the slight breeze, which was hot, felt like a blow dryer blowing, was wafting the scent of all the dumpsters right onto us. So we've learned from that mistake. That's the main thing about life. Someone actually asked Bob Gurr last night. They were asking him something along the lines of like, you know, why did your vehicles last so much longer than other monorails, or whatever the question was? And he was like, because I spent a lot of attention failing, and anytime we would build something, it would fail. I'd go down the park, well, why did that fail? And the next time I would design something, I'd try and take that out. And you're just cataloging all the failures in your mind, so that when you build the next thing, it's going to, you know, it's going to work from the gate. You're not going to have those failures the next time. I was like, what a freaking way to think about, the world and think about life. Like, that each failure, you're learning a valuable lesson. You're learning how not to do that. I started thinking about my wood carvings, which are not very good, but, you know, I do what I can. And I started thinking, like, yeah, at first there was nothing but failure. And I've learned, like, the first tiki I ever carved was at my dad's house right now. I don't have it, or I would show it to you. I should have shown it to you earlier. It is the ugliest thing ever. And I was going to throw it in the fireplace many times, and I kept it. Because I thought, one day, if I keep applying myself here, one day I'm going to be able to look at that and go, look how far I've come. I probably could already say that, really. It's that ugly and weird looking. And I thought about it after Bob said that thing last night, and I was thinking, what a way to look at things, because when it comes to the wood carving, for some reason I know that. I go, okay, that one wasn't very good, but now I know when I do that next thing, I got to scoop it like this, or I got to use this tool first, then I got to cut at an angle to it, or whatever the little thing is. Oh, I got to use this type of sandpaper next time because it'll be a little finer, or whatever the thing is. And I never apply that to my life. It's like when I fail in life, I take it so personal, I take it so hard, I beat myself up, I get so upset. If I even get sick, I can't control being sick. I don't want to be sick. I'm sick and I'm down. I don't know if any of the rest of you that have chronic illnesses have this, but if you have relatives who do or friends who do it, and I know it can be annoying, because I've got other family members and other people in my life who are always sick, and you're just like, geez, they're always sick, or you're rolling your eyes a little bit, because you're not the one, right? It's like, you don't want to be sick. That's the last thing in the world I want to do is be sick, right? I can't control that. And yet here I am, I'm beating myself up and thinking, oh, how annoying, you idiot, you're getting sick, you weak loser, whatever the negative thing is. And I was just thinking about all the times in my life that I've never applied that philosophy of like, okay, look, I learned how not to not pay your bills or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't think of a specific example off the top of my head, but I was thinking, what a genius thing if I could apply. I know that about doing videos. Oh, you know, I didn't quite film that the way I wanted to. Next time I'm going to edit like this, and learn by doing, right? Songwriting, I did that with my band for years. Like, the last album released was probably the best album that we ever did, because I just slowly learned how to not write a song, you know, with all the different failures. You're failing upwards. And I was like that with the wood carving. I learned to do it with the wood carving or whatever. I'm sure it would be like that learning how to fix cars or build statues or whatever you're out there doing. Why can't we apply that to our lives? Like, why is it different? And not just to ourselves, but also to our neighbors, you know, also to our other friends and family. I'm thinking this as I'm going along. Hey, this is off the cuff here. I didn't have time to build this vlog to scale or to paint it. But why don't I ever apply that to myself? And I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Why is it always my first instinct to like get really angry at myself instead of trying to let that anger go and do something productive? And so that's what I'm going to try and do. I'm going to try and be productive. However, I have been very sick. So I'm going to try to be as productive as I can. I'm going to go home right now and personalize a couple of books that people ordered and make sure those orders get out in time. You want a book for Christmas? I'm still shipping out books. And I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready for some stuff. There's some stuff in the house, luckily, that doesn't involve me walking around and getting out of breath and all that stuff. There's a couple things in the house that I want to film. Some stuff. There's one specific thing I really want to share with you guys. It's freaking awesome. The coolest thing at D23, and it's in my house right now. But if everything goes according to plan, I should also be out with my podcasting Patreon buddies, Tyler and George, at some point during this week. But not quite yet. Right now, I think I did as much as I can do. First day out of bed, it's time for me to go and lay down. So as much as I enjoy hanging out in this parking lot and talking to you guys about weird, abstract thoughts of mine as I've been laying there, you know, sick for 10 days without any of my friends around to talk to, I think for now, we've done our duty. Time for me to go home and sleep well. But I'll see you very shortly. Bye-bye.